Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 21 Hats podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Feldman. In today's bonus episode, we meet Shannon Kennedy. It took a series of sad losses to turn Shannon from a banker into an aspiring entrepreneur. If a friend hadn't lost his son, and if Shannon's mother and sister hadn't been diagnosed with cancer, she never would have designed, prototyped, manufactured, and started selling the Morgan Square, a tool that can save carpenters time while framing a project. Shannon's just getting started, but we'll keep in touch with her as her journey continues. The episode is titled, An Accidental Entrepreneur. Welcome, Shannon. It's great to have you here. You have a very interesting side hustle that seems to hold a great deal of promise, and it starts with a very unusual story. Can you tell us how you got started down this path?
Yes, I am the inventor behind the Morgan Square, which is a new carpenter square. Basically, how this all came together is I have a friend who lives in New Zealand. He had a son that passed away from leukemia at the age of 8 some time ago. I never met his son. But as having, you talk to your friends and you're just sharing life. And about 2014 or 15, my mother and my sister were both diagnosed with breast cancer, short amount of time apart.
Oh, gosh.
While I was talking to my friend in New Zealand and just sharing my life experience as well, he had shared with me that before his son passed away, he had built him like a mobile bed so he could take him outside so he could get fresh air because he could no longer walk. And he told me, he said, back then when I was doing all this, I wish I had a tool where I could build things faster so I could spend more time with my son. And the reason why he was sharing this story with me is that he was thinking, oh, well, maybe there's something that I could do with it to help care for my mother and my sister. And so after he shared with me more about this tool, I did a patent search. It didn't exist. And so I ended up developing and designing and bringing to life this product called the Morgan Square. Morgan is the name of his son. So I actually named the square after his son. The name of my company is Kiwi Vision because since my friend is from New Zealand, this is my honor to my friend for being a Kiwi, for sharing the story with me because he didn't have to do that. And so lo and behold, I have basically designed this thing from concept to, fruition with, of course, feedback and input from him and a friend that I have that is an actual carpenter. And ironically, both of their names are Gary. I always say that. So I have my New Zealand Gary and I have my US Gary. You can't make this stuff up.
Shannon, do you have any background at all in creating products, or using tools, woodwork, anything related to this?
No. So it gets even better. I am actually a banker by trade. I have been in the commercial bank industry for more than 25 years.
And can you tell us where?
Yes, I actually work for Silicon Valley Bank. I've been there for more than 24 years. And I am currently in their startup banking organization. But I've had many, many roles in the organization that amount of time. But no, I do not do any type of woodworking I can't say that now, but that is definitely not my background by any means.
Are you involved in giving out loans, working with entrepreneurs, that aspect of banking?
No, I'm more on the support side. So I actually don't engage with clients directly, but I'm sitting within it.
So you don't have experience building a business either. That part of this is new to you as well.
No, I don't have. This is the first business that I have built. I do have a master's in business management, and with my experience in the baking industry, I'm familiar with just some of the things that are important to entrepreneurs while they're running their business. So this is a first for me.
Tell me more about the Morgan Square. What does it do?
Absolutely. So the concept of the Morgan Square generated from the framing process. So generally, when you're laying out your walls for a home, you would measure, you take your 2x4, for example, and you would do your layout by using a speed square and a tape measure. You'd lay your 2x4 down and basically make your marks, and then you'd pick up your speed square, and then you'd come down and make your lines. Well, the Morgan Square has combined 2 steps of that framing process by being compatible with tape measures. So it actually cuts the layout process I won't say half, but it's pretty close. If you have a pretty large 2x4. We've got a lot of feedback. It basically allows you to measure and mark at the same time. I've also got a couple of patented features on it where the width of the ruler itself is actually the same width as the studs in the wall that you would use to put your studs. And we've got a center line mark down the middle of our tongue so you don't have to do your center on 16 when you're doing your measurements.
And how did you figure out that this was something that people who do this kind of work would value?
So my friend, my U.S. Gary, that's what I call him. He used to be I was a carpenter or foreman by trade. And when I was going through this, I needed to have someone that I could trust, that I could run the concept back by. Not that I didn't trust the New Zealand Gary, but just I needed to make sure that I understood what it was. So once I showed this process, and Gary also had some conversations about what this concept was. He's like, whoa. And then we started showing it to people, and the reactions that we were getting was kind of like, I almost didn't know what I had. And once, like I said, I went and did the patent search, and it didn't exist. And I filed the patent and was granted, design patent, got it in front of a manufacturer, and they were like, this hasn't been done before? I'm like, no, it hasn't. Something so simple. I've also been told that it can be used for quilting. My husband is a cabinet maker. He actually uses it to lay out the fronts of his doors. Just so many different ways that it can be used that have come out lately. And so we're like, wow, we started with one idea, and here we are with all of these various ways to use the Morgan Square.
So there's a lot going on there. First of all, you mentioned your mother and your sister. Are they doing okay?
Actually, my older sister did pass away in 2020.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Mom is okay. But I also care for my mom now. Unfortunately, now Mom has dementia. So it's just been an ongoing thing. But it is, it's a rough story of how this all came together in the first place. And it's just been, I just felt like I couldn't put it down once it ended up in my hands. I just felt like I had to keep going. And here I am doing trade shows and got it out on Amazon. And
it is available on Amazon now.
Yes, it's available on Amazon, Woodcraft, directly from our website. So slow and steady, but sure progress.
Well, let's talk about some of these important steps. It sounds like the first thing you did was to go and get a patent. Did you hired a lawyer? What was that process like?
Yes, I actually wasn't a lawyer, but I did. It was more like a paralegal service, if you will. But basically what they did is they went through and did the search professionally, looked at all of the artwork, and then came back and told me there was any similarities or anything before actually filing. So yes, filing the patent, filing the trademark, establishing an LLC, to keep things separate.
Well, how did you start the manufacturing process? How did you find the manufacturer?
Actually, Gary's wife was a good friend of mine. I ended up working with him because of her. I asked her, I said, can I borrow Gary for, a couple hours or something? It's been a few years, and he's been by my side kind of helping me, my right hand there. But we ended up going in front of a manufacturer together, and I believe it was a friend of a friend. And we just lucked out and in the Silicon Valley, ended up in front of a manufacturer and said, hey, is this something that you think that you'd be willing to make for us? So then we started to, identify materials, sizes, and what exactly that looked like.
And they were a contract manufacturer that did similar tools?
They do all kinds of things. Pretty much if you can dream it, they can build it. So CNC, it's everything.
I see. And had you considered other possibilities? I mean, did you think about going to China or?
I mean, of course. But, when you're starting from scratch, outsourcing it, if you can, it's going to be cheaper. We do our prototyping here, but for mass quantities, they are being done in Vietnam, but also looking to have them done stateside. So I'm still open.
I see. So you started with a manufacturer right there in Silicon Valley where you are. And when you needed to produce more, you found a manufacturer in Vietnam, or was that a relationship that the manufacturer already had?
Yes, it's a relationship that the manufacturer had.
So how many of these have you made so far?
Oh, goodness. Wow. I'd say 5,000. Let's just say 5,000 at this point. And just getting it out there. I was at the AWFS fair last July, at the end of July, and since the middle of July, I think we've sold over 300 units. So, getting the recognition and getting it out there is picking up. So I'd say there's probably been about, I don't know off the top of my head, but I only started to get it out there and sell it last August because I had launched it originally right during the pandemic or in October of 2019. And so all of the trade shows that I had scheduled for 2020, we all know what happened then. Everything was put on hold. So I went to the International Woodworking Fair last August and had entered the Morgan Square in their Challengers Award. And I was a top 20 finalist for most innovative product. And I'm pretty sure probably one of the only women, or if not the only woman-owned tool company on the floor.
You're right there in Silicon Valley. I'm sure to some extent you must have thought about, what do I do with this? I could find investors. I could take it to a big company. Did you consider those kinds of options?
Yeah, all of them have been possibilities. I mean, for me, it's more than just putting it out there and having someone. I mean, it would be nice to get it out there, like I said, with distributors and things such as that. But there's something different when you put in the sweat equity of developing a product from concept to something tangible. So I could get investors probably if, I'm just not sure that's something that I want to do. Or if I need to do it, I know a lot of people do that, but it's if I don't need to do it and I can get it out there, and, find the right people, the right distributors, it may not be anything. And who knows, like I said, maybe somebody will come and say they want to buy the Morgan Square. It's all possible, but I think we're just getting our feet wet.
Was it just that you thought you would enjoy the process of actually building and running a business?
It's kind of like my baby, if you will. I feel a special connection to the product just based off of the generation of it, the whole idea about it. I have a personal connection to this story, this product, and how it ended up, it just in my hands. It's just not an easy thing to want to go give it to anybody.
Good for you. How have you been able to pay for the manufacturing that you've done so far? Is that out of your own personal funds, or did you do friends and family? What were you able to do?
Bootstrapping so far. It's been me.
And of the ones that you've made, you've been able to sell most or all of them and put the money back into making more?
Yes. Now that I've had it out there for about a year now, I mean, they're moving now. Like I said, exposure is picking up. So I have had the ability to buy a few rounds of product. And also preparing to buy another round of units shortly here. Yeah, it's just so I'm able to keep going. There are days that it's just tight, and of course, when you're doing an entrepreneur thing, it's always about cash flow and having the operating expenses just to keep going. But yes, I've been able to purchase them and have them on hand, keeping up with Amazon demands and things such as that. But there are days you question yourself as an entrepreneur. But
sure.
I definitely, I'm feeling very positive about it, and especially the momentum that we're getting as of late.
How did you pick a price for it?
Actually, the team and I, we literally went into the stores and we looked at squares. We were in the Home Depots and the Lowe's and kind of gauging and doing our research. When you do your research, you can kind of figure out what's out there, what attracts people, high-end ones, the low-end ones. And so, like I said, it's a regular person's hand tool, so we didn't want to overprice anything.
But you said it's still true that there aren't any other squares out there that do what yours does?
No, there's nothing out there like that. There's a Speed Square, which it's not I wouldn't say competitor or anything. They just do different things. There's not anything that, at least that I'm aware of, that has a tape measure attached to it. And ours also has a pencil holder. Squares don't have those.
So did you price yours to be competitive with the existing squares out there, even though they don't do what yours does?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And given that it does do something a little different, I mean, we wanted to keep it sensible. Again, being a new brand, a new product, I don't think it's the best decision to go out there, but you want it to be attractive. You need to build your brand's name first and your product.
You also need to make a little bit of profit so you can keep going and make more.
Yes. And that's the goal. Yes.
Can you tell us what you're charging for it?
Yeah. So I actually have 3 sizes and 2 materials. Our UV resistant plastic 8-inch is $19.99. The 8-inch comes in plastic and aluminum. So that one is $39.99. And then the 12-inch is $49.99. And then our 16 by 24 is $64.99.
And how did you go about spreading the word? What's your best marketing been?
Going to trade shows. I've been going to trade shows. I think this was just my fifth one. I was just at the AWFS, as I mentioned, at the IWF. I will be headed back to IWF in 2024. I've done some social media marketing. Not the greatest. Marketing is a whole different animal. Just getting the whole social thing.
Have you been doing that yourself, or did you hire someone to do it for you?
No, I do it. I do it myself. I post. I run in the Instagram pages, the Facebook pages. I'm a true entrepreneur wearing 1,000 hats. I know eventually I won't be able to do everything, but again, for me, it's part of the sweat equity that's out there. But it's gaining momentum. I mean, we've been featured on Stumpy Nub's YouTube video. I didn't even know who he was. Last month, I was sitting at home, and all of a sudden, my Amazon just starts on fire, and what is going on? I started checking myself. Am I running something? What's all this traffic coming from? But people are hearing about it. And I guess someone told him about it, and he put it out on his YouTube and sold us out on Amazon in less than 2 hours. And so other folks are starting to hear about it now. It's just been crazy. And I don't know where a lot of folks hear from it. The only way that I find out people are talking about it outside of my advertisements is I have a question about how did you hear about us? And they'll let me know.
How has it gone with Amazon?
Oh, that's a whole different MBA. No.
Well, give us a hint.
Oh, no, it's a lot. I'm doing my Filled by Amazon as well. So I use the FBA as they call it. So I've actually taught myself how to navigate and use their Seller Central, but I've gotten much better at it. So they have advertising and promotions and things. And so when it comes to, shipping the inventory, Gary and myself and his wife, we're hand packaging and we're boxing these ourselves and sending them over to Amazon, just figuring out the whole algorithm. And if you're advertising, how to read, what your return on your advertisement is. They've got all kinds of tricks. And I participated in the, what is that, Prime Day?
Sure.
I'd heard of it. Now, as a business, I needed to get ready for that. So I learned about how to, give the coupons or the discounts and be ready for how long you want to run it. So it's been an interesting journey. You have to put on barcodes that match what Amazon has. And if you sell out, for example, I just learned that, that your product actually just disappears. You can't even find it.
Disappears from the site.
Just disappears from the site. Doesn't even pop up unless you have a direct link. So just realizing that you need to keep something that's always inbound, if you will, so that it's reflective that it's coming. But I am learning so much with it, like just reading the matrix and, the colors and it's a lot. It is a lot.
What have you learned about the advertising process? Have you figured out how much to spend and how productive it is?
Yes, learning about the biz and, how much you want to spend daily. Like, for example, you can say you want to do $25, but then if you can also configure it to go up or down on certain days. Like if you think they're going to sell, there's all these nuances with each one. So you can run sponsored campaigns or sponsored products. I'm still learning about the Amazon stores. There's just, it's like a hole that you can get lost in. And I actually had to stop looking at it for a while because it was almost like a new social media. It's like, I kept looking at it. Well, how many orders are in there? What does this mean? And it's definitely educational.
Did you hire anybody to help you with Amazon or take a course or anything?
I've been teaching myself. They do offer a lot of, courses and classes. When I'm not banking, I'm Morgan Squaring. I've been teaching myself everything, even from just using QuickBooks for accounting and everything. And now I got some help with that because I'm a banker, but I'm not an accountant. They're two different things. But it's a feeling that I just love. Like when I get an order, I do a dance, a backflip, okay, at least in my mind. But it's just something about, packaging up something that you have put your heart and soul into that somebody is interested in buying.
It's easy to imagine that there's some big companies out there, construction companies, that if they see the value in this, would place very large orders. Have you had conversations with anybody like that?
I've been trying. I am out there. You just got to find the right hook. There is interest, but yeah, it's I'm like I said, constantly out there networking. And one of the challenges is being a woman in this industry. Just when they find out that it's a woman, I'm not saying it in a bad way, but the videos and things that are out there that you see on our YouTube and things, sometimes it's me, but more so it's Gary. And so there's the assumption that, I've seen comments or people, at the shows, they're like, oh, what do you know about, woodworking?
Do they actually say that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Oh, they say it. They say it. Or, oh, this is a woman-owned business. Oh, I don't want anything to do with that.
You'd think the product speaks for itself. I mean, somebody who knows wood either sees value in it or they don't. What difference does it make who owns it?
Hey, I don't know, but I agree. And it does sell itself. When we put it in people's hands, we know that it's good. So we know that it's quality. We're not trying to convince or sell you. It sells itself. But I just go with it. I kind of use it to my advantage. I'm either laughing at it or I show them. I tell them about it. I let them know. And then when they see it, I did have one guy do that to me at a networking event. And by the time I got him through with my 30-second pitch, I was ready. He bought one. So, it's, but I'm going to get there.
What's the next step that you're hoping to take?
I don't know if it's the next, but the ultimate goal for me is to get the Morgan Square distributed in New Zealand. For me, that would be the icing on the cake, just to be able to take Morgan back home. That's how I see it.
And you're still in touch with New Zealand, Gary?
Yes.
But he's not involved in this in any way, right?
No, and he wants nothing to do with it. Nothing at all. When I finished the product, I had sent him the product probably about, I think, the end of last year or so. And I'll just never forget, he called me and he's like, that's my boy. That's my boy's name. That right there was just extra fuel for this jet. Just to be able to do it. But yeah, we talk. We talk every once in a while. It's not frequent. It's been quite a long time since I've actually seen him, but he's aware of everything. Morgan's father is aware of everything.
All right. Well, my thanks to Shannon Kennedy and, of course, to our sponsor, The Great Game of Business, which helps businesses use an open book management system to build healthier companies. You can learn more at greatgame.com. Thanks for listening, everybody. Wait. Don't leave yet. If you have a question or a comment that you'd like the 21 Hats owners to address, send it to me by replying to your morning report or by email at lauren@21hats.com. That's LOREN @21hats.com. Do it now before you forget. And don't be afraid to tell Jay what you really think. He can take it. And if you got something out of this conversation, help us reach more business owners. Tell a friend. Subscribe and review us wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to the Morning Report at 21hats.com. This episode was produced by Jess Thuberon, founder of Blank Word Productions. Okay, now you can leave. Thanks for listening, everyone.